Good day, brothers and sisters. St. Mark chapter 5, verses 1 to 8. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him, and cried with a loud voice, and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. Verse 8 and last. For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. Today we look at the demoniac's red flag. Jesus encountered this demoniac. Seeing the gentleman begin to worship him. However, Jesus wasn't focused on this worship. There was something else Jesus saw which was contrary to the worship. A red flag. Something that in an environment you see what you want to see. You see the good things. You see the encouraging signs. But there is something, maybe one little item, contrary to all this, that you can't afford to ignore. Jesus saw some form of red flag. Was it because this man was worshipping him, but really nobody should have known at the time that Jesus was worthy of worship? Or was it some divine revelation? It probably wasn't the latter, because Jesus was always so close to his God. But nonetheless, the point is, Jesus saw his red flag. You and I see red flags every day in what we go through. We see the relationships which we can't afford to go further in. We see the employment which we have, which are really paying the bills, but in the long run, pointless and probably detrimental. The difference is, Jesus saw his red flag and responded to it. We often see red flags, and so many times, brothers and sisters, we ignore them, even to our own peril. However, when we acknowledge that red flags will exist, there will be red flags all the while. And we acknowledge that for it to be a red flag, it must be something that we have seen. Sadly, we often ignore the red flags. We often ignore what we should have looked on from way back when. Today, let's look at 3 reasons why we ignore red flags. Number 1, slothfulness. Just like the 2 individuals who Jesus met after his crucifixion, after his resurrection. He pointed out to them, O fools and slow of heart to believe. Sometimes we just don't move expeditiously enough. But how does the Bible describe the Christian life in Romans? Not slothful in business. Colossians 3:23 implores us to do all things as if unto God. And if we are doing everything as if unto God, where will the time come from to delay, to waste time? We have seen the bad signs. The relationship from some angles is very nice, but we see this glaring little detail which we ought not to ignore. Too often we say, boy, I've seen that this girl now, you know, say, there's something about her with that little thing there. Hey, I soon deal with it now. One of these days, man, watch my man. One day, you know. I'm going to make sure you know how much o'clock I strike. One day. What about today? This isn't in the Bible, but we are always in the preachers warning us. Delay is danger. If we're going to be expeditious, if we're going to treat everything as if we're doing it unto God, it won't be a waiting around thing when we see that glaring red flag. But number two, fear of loss. We often ignore red flags because of a fear. Sometimes we fear losing the comfort of the situation, the income from the employment. We say, how am I going to do without this? The stability of the relationship, we're saying, but yes, he is a little violent, but we have been together so long. The children are now in the picture. How will they work without a father? Hey, are you really afraid? Well, the Bible tells you, your enemy come only to steal, kill, and destroy. So whatever you see that is an indication of his presence, that is trying to work in your life, he isn't coming with anything that you are going to be comfortable with in the long run. Whatever it is that Satan wants to introduce in your life, and this red flag is indicating to you, it's going to be big enough reasons for you to fear in the long run, you know. So don't worry about the little fear where you have a dislocation right now. Act upon the red flag that you have seen. The fear to come will be real great. But the third and last, a reason why we ignore red flags, we look at red flags and go on same way, stay in the same situation because of sometimes bad theology. We hear all the while, you must be forgiving, you know. You can't just cut off your relationship like that. God say must love, so that situation is not so nice, yes, but you have to hold on a little more, man, because God say must love. Really? You're telling about forgiveness? I ask everybody who tells me to forgive, please explain to me what is forgiveness. When David committed sin, with Bathsheba, didn't God forgive him? One little baby was born from out of that sexual encounter though. The baby didn't survive, did he? Forgiveness doesn't mean necessarily the way how you look upon it. So similarly, when you see the red flag wave in front of you, and God is showing you, I'm showing you this red flag for your good. Any theology to impact upon your decision must be good theology. What the Bible say. Watch out for those who are just trying to tell you their own brand of Bible knowledge. Check it good for yourself first. Hey, right now, brothers and sisters, I will confess that over my life I have encountered many red flags which I have ignored. Only to pay the price later on. I am trying now to cut out that. So I'm encouraging you same way. Don't ignore the red flags. Jesus saw that there was something in the man which needed to be cast out. He didn't make the man's worship distract him. He reacted to his revelation. He acted expeditiously. He was not slothful. He dealt with the situation. He didn't succumb to fear. And he used his knowledge. Not no bad theology. Brother and sister, I thank you for your time and listen to this word. May God bless all of you.